Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this session on our Customer Day about integrating SAP Business One, your ERP software, with your e-commerce solution. I am really happy that you're here with me. Let me get rid of some housekeeping items. First, remember that you are muted by default, but if you have questions, and we would really like this to be a conversation, do use the Q&A functionality that Zoom provides, and we'll get to your questions at the end of the session if there's time. A reminder to follow us on social media. Whatever you spend more time on, we want to be there with you, reminding you about webinars or tips and tricks for SAP Business One. So if you think that's a good idea, if that's content that you would like to receive on your inbox or on your feed, look for us as Consensus International on the different social media channels. We have a raffle at the end of the Customer Day, so the more sessions you attend and rate, the more possibilities to win an iPad. Please remember to share your email when you rate a session so that we can include you on that raffle, and your comments are highly appreciated on ways that we can improve our content or suggestions for content for other annual Customer Days or for our webinar program, for instance. Just let us know your thoughts. We appreciate them very much. Today, I'm with Richard Calvo. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning, everybody.
How are you today?
Doing fine, thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Richard, for being here with us and for preparing this short presentation. We're going to jump right into the presentation where Richard is sharing some considerations and benefits, things that you might think about when you start thinking about integrating your e-commerce solution with SAP Business One. And as mentioned before, if you have questions, please post them using the Q&A functionality that Zoom provides, and enjoy the presentation.
We're just going to be talking about e-commerce in general. So what kind of benefits does it bring to us as business owners, and what we can do to make sure that our implementation of e-commerce or our project for e-commerce is successful and has as few roadblocks as we can. So let's just talk real quick about the benefits first. If you look at this slide, there's a couple of headers here. One of the benefits is decreased data entry, right? So it's redundant. In the past it was okay to have some orders come in from the online platform and then have somebody manually key them in, or have a group of people key them in. That's not okay anymore, and at the volumes that we're dealing today, it's unfeasible. The other thing is you'll have increased efficiency and accuracy across the board. So it's not just the speed of entering the orders into your system, but it's how well those are entered and making sure that everything is exactly as it should be. Another super important point here is the customer experience. So before, customers might have placed orders with you on the phone. They might have called in, maybe you were shipping out catalogs and you need part number XYZ. With an e-commerce solution, the customers can see everything they want, right? Multiple pictures, they can shop around, they can see the status, all of these things. And lastly, for financials, you're going to have increased revenue tracking or improved revenue tracking. Why? Because you're going to have instant view into what you're spending, what you're buying, and what your customers are ordering, so you can make better decisions. Okay, so if we go over here, we're going to eliminate something that used to be prevalent in the field back in the day, right? And that was manual file exports or imports. So before, you had real tight integrations with your back-end systems. You had some kind of website and some orders were placed, and then at the end of the day, there was a file export at the end of the day. And then somebody would look at that file and either manually import it into a system or do data entry, right? We eliminate that, so we reduce the labor cost and we reduce that gap that you would have in time between a customer placing an order and that reaching your backend systems, right, which would also increase your delivery time. Like I said earlier, we're going to have increased efficiency and accuracy across the board. That's because API imports are magnitudes faster than typing or even doing imports on a batch schedule where at some point in the day you receive the information and you try to import them all in. That would be eliminated with something like e-commerce solutions today that are tightly integrated with your backend. I did go over this a little bit already, but the customer experience is the king here, right? We all shop online, we shop on our phones, we shop on the browsers on our computer, and we want to know exactly what we're getting, and we want to be able to make a payment easily, right? I don't know about you, but when I go to a website and it's going to ask for my credit card information and my browser can already pre-fill everything in and I can make the payment and get out of there in 30 seconds, that's a good experience for me. If I have to call someone or I have problems with the payment, I usually just leave the website and I don't make the payment, I don't make the purchase, right? The other super important thing is the self-service, the follow-up. I make a purchase online. I want to know when it's getting to my house. I want to know what the status of the order is. I want to know if there's a back order, if there's any problems. And I want to see the history, right? I want to see that I purchased this 3 months ago on some day so that I can put in maybe a customer service request or just to know, right? So self-service portals where I don't have to talk to anybody on the phone are super important. That's what the new e-commerce experiences are offering. Yeah, digital communication here. If I have like a chat on the website where I can just talk to someone in case there's something on the website that is missing, right? Some kind of information I'm missing. I would prefer that than going on a phone call and being on a long queue and waiting for it. Okay, so those are our benefits. Those are the things that doing something like implementing the e-commerce, tight e-commerce integration with, in our case, Business One, which is the backend ERP, are going to offer us. The last point here was for just on the business side, so financials or CEO or whoever, right? So we'll have real-time inventory demand. This means that somebody placed an order right now, and right now that went into Business One, and I know that I've committed this inventory, and maybe I have like a POS or a walk-in somewhere, and I know that I can't actually sell that. That's sitting right there because somebody just placed an order. If it was, a couple of years ago when that information would come into the system as a batch or wait for somebody to key it in later, I wouldn't know that, and then I would have back orders. I would have problems with fulfilling that order because I've now overcommitted my inventory. This helps with more accurate MRP. Some of us use MRP, some of us don't, but the MRP system would then be able to predict what we need to purchase to be able to fulfill our orders more accurately. And it would improve cash flow analysis on the system. Cash flow analysis that will tell me what's coming in and what's going out. And more importantly, we'll have an inventory cost reduction. That means we'll know which of our inventory is truly turning over faster, and we'll be able to reserve less inventory or purchase and keep less inventory in the warehouse because we'll know actually what comes in and what comes out faster, right? So these are the benefits. Now, we need to take some things into consideration before we start an e-commerce project to make sure that it's as painless as possible and that it costs us as little as possible, right? The longer the project drags on, the more it costs. Most important, define clear business processes. Everybody's business is different. Everybody has their uniqueness. And what you're looking for when you're going to implement an e-commerce project is how closely will that mirror my own process. That's something that you have to take into account when you're going to go shop around because your options really are build something in-house, build something that's just an integration, or go with a full-fledged e-commerce where you have everything. You have the integration, it's tailored to your process, and you can do anything you want on the website. Depending on which solution you choose, you have that option. For example, Shopify will let you change, the display of the page and some of the things on the page, but it won't let you change every single process and tie it into mirror your process on the back end. You're kind of locked in to what they say the process is for placing an order and order fulfillment, things like that. So those are things to take into account when you are going to start a project and you're shopping around for a vendor or a solution. The other important thing is have accurate master data, right? So you don't want a Business One company, since the point of this is to integrate it with Business One. You don't want to have a Business One company where you have a bunch of obsolete items, or you're managed correctly by batch or serial, or you're not tracking the inventory correctly. So something goes out of the warehouse, but it takes you 2 days to track that. That's bad, right? Those are things that we need to fix before we start to get into an e-commerce situation. So that's the last point here: perform timely inventory management. And a good way to do that is, well, we'll talk about it in the next slide. So let's go over here. So for the business process topic here, what are the workflows that you follow? So typically, would you sell something, but then after you sell it on the website, you have to procure it somewhere, and it takes X amount of days, and you have to ship it in containers? Is that something you do? Or do you just have items that you produce in-house, so you know exactly how much production rate you have and when they're going to be available for somebody to consume or for you to sell? So it's super important for you to figure out the workflow. That means have it written down on paper, do a diagram, know exactly what it is that you guys follow before you start talking to somebody in the e-commerce space and saying, hey, I need to mirror this kind of thing when I take orders online, or these are the considerations when I take an order online. It's going to take me X amount of days. Those kind of things. Or the inventory that you'll show on the website has to be calculated based on our forecast because it takes us X amount of time to receive inventory, stuff like that. So always have super clear business processes. The better that your business processes are already working in, let's call it an analog or offline mode, which doesn't have e-commerce, which is just direct business, that you're doing, let's say in the physical space, the better that the e-commerce process is going to work. It's important to have process owners, right? So it's important to know those people that know exactly what the process is when you're doing procurement or sales to procurement, delivery, or whatever it might be. Super cool. The other topic was master data accuracy, right? So we want to make sure that our items, our business partners, everything that has to do with setup in Business One is as tidy as possible. If you've been running for a long time and you've maybe cycled out or decommissioned items, there are tools in the system that you can use to clean that up. So one of them is master data cleanup that you can use to deactivate or delete items depending on their usage in the system. And if you're still running on a SQL version, there's also an archiving function which will archive older years. Basically, it's something that kind of like splits out that information from the database and just puts it in a read-only place somewhere. It's not available for the HANA, but you don't really need it for the HANA because HANA has a lot more capacity. So, okay. Inventory management. So we suggest that for inventory management, you use a warehouse management system. That means that you'll be able to scan inventory as it comes into your warehouse and then immediately in the system. You'll be able to scan it as it goes out and immediately out of the system. You'll be able to scan it as you transfer from location, so you know where everything is and you have accurate inventory reports, which will then feed your website with accurate data. Right? So super important are these cycle counts. You typically do something like, if you've never done a cycle count, you'll do a full cycle count of everything. A weekend, the warehouse shuts down and you count everything in there. But we also recommend having monthly or period cycle counts so that you can just update periodically all of the information in the system and make sure that what's in the system matches reality for you. That's actually the end of the presentation there, but there is a solution that's out there now, which is a complete integrated solution for Business One. It was built for Business One. It only does Business One. It provides the entire e-commerce platform for you and all the integration of your business processes with Business One. It's just here on the slide. You guys can look it up. We'll also provide this information as well after the webinar for whoever requests it. This is a partner that works with Business One, for Business One, and they create all the e-commerce solution. Okay, so it's worth a mention here.
Okay, thank you for that. Let me share my screen here. So that was a brief presentation on some considerations that you might take into account when you consider your e-commerce solution and how to integrate it with SAP Business One. Other than the one that was on the last slide, and this is one question that I have for you, Richard. Which e-commerce platforms have we integrated with SAP Business One in the past?
We have Shopify, Magento, eBay, and some Amazon.
Okay, so I have a question here, and it is, if I have never done e-commerce before, is there one specific platform that you recommend?
The simplest we've seen so far is Shopify. It is a managed platform, so you don't host anything. If you were to go with something like Magento, which has a community version, you do have to have somebody to host it. You have to do a lot of setup in it. I think it's a little bit more complex than just starting up a Shopify store. You define your products, you define your taxes, where you sell, and you're pretty much off to the races, and they can handle the management of taking payments for you through a Shopify gateway.
Okay, and that integrates with SAP, correct? The payments and everything.
Yes.
Okay. We have another question. One of the users is asking, can we see the solution? The answer is no, not today. This was not, we were not doing a demo. We didn't include a demo of an integration but we might in the future, and we'll update you on that. Richard, another question is, how long does it take to have an e-commerce solution fully integrated with SAP? I'm guessing it depends, correct?
It depends, but the integration portion is not the majority of the work. The majority of the work is you working with the e-commerce platform. So in the case of Shopify, you open an account with them. It's a business account. You register as a business. You do all of your setup there. And then for us, what we need is, if you're going to use the standard process, which we already have defined, all we need is an API key. So that's like a username and a password, and then we install that on your server, and that starts feeding information to SAP. If you need custom stuff, if your process doesn't fit into that, and I see somebody on here, an attendee, who has a lot of custom stuff for the Shopify integration. So then that's a different topic, because that means we have to build something custom for you. If you're gonna follow the basic stuff where it's like an order comes in and you just put the order in SAP, you're not even checking inventory, and then you're dealing with the inventory yourself, you're fulfilling with whatever solution you're fulfilling is, and then you're sending back tracking information to SAP. Well, that's to Shopify. Well, that's very standard. So it's not a long implementation project for that.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you very much, Richard. Thank you for being here, everyone. If you have specific questions about integrating your e-commerce solution with SAP Business One, please send us an email. And for the user who was asking for the demo, we will work on creating a demo and sharing it with everyone. We'll keep you updated, and we're here for you. So just contact us. Thank you again, Richard, for being with us, and I'll see you in the next session.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Sylvia, version 10 is what provides the web client. It is unrelated to the Shopify or e-commerce integration.
Okay, Sylvia, to your question as well, if you go to our website, in our blog post, one of the latest blog posts shows you the steps to know what version you are in. And also, if you attend the upcoming session, I'm also going to show how you find out what version you're using. See you.
Have a great day.
Bye.